Welcome, good evening, and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Am Abel Foundation's Medicine Makers, where if medicine is your destination, we can show you how to get there. I'm very happy today to be joined by my guest, Dr. Joy Ilion, who I will properly introduce later, an amazing physician. And my name is Toyin Adeyemi. I am one of the mentors in the Am Abel Foundation, and I'm happy to be your host today. So today our topic is on the importance of service at home and abroad, and nobody better to talk about that than our guest, Dr. Joy, as the kids and mentees call her. A few things before we get started. Would like to remind our viewers that you can catch us on CAN TV 21. You can also follow us, look at cantv.org/hotline. And if you have any questions or comments during the show, you can call in at 312-738-1060. And again, our website is iamabel.org, IAMABEL.org, and that is Am Abel Foundation's website. So again, we'll talk a little bit more about the organization, and I am really honored and happy to introduce our guest today, Dr. Joy Ilion. And like I said, I will be introducing her properly. I met Joy a couple of years ago through the Am Abel, and Dr. Joy, as the children mentees call her, grew up right here in the south suburbs of Chicago. She attended medical school at the University of Chicago, where she graduated with her MD, and then her residency in pediatrics at Northwestern University. And she practices right here in Chicago at the University of Chicago Coma Children's Clinic. And in addition to being a fantastic physician, Dr. Ilion actually has a passion for medical mission. She travels internationally to Haiti, to Kenya, taking our mentees with her through the Am Abel Foundation, and really involved with a whole bunch of organizations, including the Am Abel Foundation. So we're happy to have you. Welcome, Dr. Joy.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and just talk about service and how important that is here at home, but also abroad if you have those opportunities.
Yes, yes. So before we get into the mission and what you do with the children in Am Abel, tell us a little bit about how you first got involved with Am Abel and when.
So I became involved with I Am Abel, it's 3 years ago now when the organization first started up. I've always been an advocate for mentoring. I feel like if you have accomplished something in your life, you should always be going back to try to help somebody get to where you are if that's what they aspire to be. And so I came on the very first year I Am Abel got started, and I've gotten new mentees each year. I think I'm up to maybe 4 or 5. And so it's just great to be able to talk to girls who are interested in medicine and help give them a little bit of a pathway to be on their way.
That's amazing. And anyone who meets you knows just how passionate you are about medicine and also about service. And so that was kind of leading on to our next question is, a lot of people say, here you are, you're a pediatrician at U of C, it's very busy practice, yet you still do a lot of things outside of the hospital. So how did you get involved in this kind of service volunteering thing, and why is it important?
So my very first experience with kind of missions work was back during residency. So over 10 years ago, I had an opportunity to go and work in a hospital in Tanzania for a month. And that just kind of opened my eyes to the disparities in healthcare that are throughout the world. And then, life happens, you do residency, you get a job, and you know that there's a need, you just don't kind of know how to fit it into your schedule. And so over the years, I was able to do a trip to St. Lucia and do some medical work. And then once I became hooked up with Chances for Children down in Haiti, I just became super passionate about it. And I was going to Haiti roughly like every 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
When I first started going. There was just such a need for it there, and I decided I was going to use my vacation to go, and whatever I needed to do, I figured it out, and I've just been committed to it for the past 5 years.
That's pretty impressive. You brought up a lot of points about using it an opportunity where you looked and you found disparities, you
Yes.
found things outside of the environment where you were in practice, but also making it happen, doing whatever you could to make it happen.
Yes.
So that's that heart for service, and not just doing it because it was a checklist of something to do,
Yep.
but it was something that your heart was in. So one of the things that you've done a lot of trips. So you've gone to Kenya, you've gone to St. Lucia, you've gone to Haiti. With the I Am Able, could you tell us a little bit about what you do within that program, and then we'll get into details of your last trip with them last summer.
Absolutely. So usually the students that are going with me to Haiti from I Am Able are high school students. They don't have a lot of medical experience. They wonder, what can I do? How can I make a difference while I'm there? I have taken some college students as well. And so we go, and it's really about being present. We can all do something, whether we have medical knowledge or not. Going out to communities where people don't have clean water, people don't have access to medications, passing out vitamins, passing out clothes, something as simple as that, passing out toothbrushes, toothpaste to people. And so the students are allowed to do some of those things, interact with the people in the community. We also visit an orphanage there, and we spend time with the kids in the orphanage. And that always proves to be very rewarding for whoever goes, and that requires no medical experience whatsoever. And then there's a clinic that we try and give the kids, since they're interested in medicine, an opportunity to shadow in to see the difference, because a lot of them have shadow physicians here, and to see the difference in healthcare in another country. And so we give them that opportunity as well.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up so many excellent points, because one of the things you talked about, they're shadowing physicians here, really through the program.
Yes.
Some of them, in terms of when we're looking at getting people into the pipeline in medicine, some of the things that underrepresented minorities may not have access to is the opportunities to shadow because of access into the healthcare system. So the organization pairs them with mentors who allow them to shadow here, but then they get to see things across the world.
Yes.
And in some cases, for some of our mentees, it's the first time they're taking international trips and actually leaving the country and seeing other things. So that's really important. But you also brought up the part about not getting intimidated about the process and knowing that you can still do stuff, even if it's not necessarily medical.
Yes.
So what would you say are some of the things that the mentees have told you about what they were surprised about, or what they didn't expect, or what they got out of it that they didn't even think about going in?
So one of the biggest things that I've heard time and time again is that they are so surprised how people who have so little can be so happy.
Yeah.
And it completely changes their perspective on life. And they just go back home with a completely different mentality, because they realize it's not about the stuff. You can be happy with very little. And then also just the access to healthcare. People can't believe that, they can't just go to the doctor, like they actually can't afford to go to the doctor. So that opens their eyes as well.
Wow, that is very impressive. What I'm going to do is, because you had shared a couple of photos from this last trip last summer, just have you, as I walk you through some of these photos, you can kind of tell us a little bit about some of these.
Yeah. So this is a picture of me at an orphanage, not the orphanage we visit most often, but just with some of the kids that we see, and we are able to go there and provide care to every single child in this orphanage for free. And then we do have some pictures with some of the students that have traveled. We do service projects when we're there. We go and we build benches, which is what Clark is doing there. And then the other picture there is one of our other students helping in the triage process, getting some actual hands-on experience with some patients that are waiting to be seen for the day.
This is great because of the Saturday morning professor that I'm Able offers. The kids learn how to do history taking and they learn how to do physicals, and it's interesting because then they get to be in the triage area talking about some of these things. That's really hands-on experience.
And so this was what I mentioned. We have them shadowing doctors in the Haitian clinic that's there. There are feeding programs that we go out to and visit with, and so we help pass out food and water to the kids. And the feeding program is actually food through Feed My Starving Children, which is an organization here in the United States that sends food to many different places in the world. And these are just a couple of pictures of Diana spending some time with one of the kids in the orphanage and us just outside of church. Like I said, we do medical care as well, and we may build shelves and paint them, decorate them for the kids in the orphanage. And this is part of our sorting vitamins and just some of the students from the organization that have been able to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive. And the fact that you actually immerse yourselves in the community when you're there with the children, with the mentees, and we're actually doing other projects that are of need to the communities there. And, because you've done this now for 10 years from residency, going to different parts of the world and immersing yourself in those cultures. And one of the things we like to talk about with our students are kind of some of the operating rules when you go abroad, in terms of how some of the do's and don'ts that make the experience a pleasant one, but allow I Am Able to keep going back with great reports and things. So some of the tips that you might want to share about what we tell the kids and do's and don'ts when you go abroad.
Absolutely. So one is just be ready for anything. Leave all your expensive stuff at home and be ready to go with the flow. Often here in the United States, we expect everything to happen in a timely fashion. Other countries, things just kind of go with the flow. That for sure. And then also just being open to what experience, being open to differences. Because everybody doesn't have what you have, and you just have to realize that. So those are some of the main pointers.
Yes. So while we're talking a bit more about the program, we also just want to take this time, since we're about midway through, to tell you that the applications are still open for the next class. So this last trip that Dr. Joy shared with us was last summer. The next group are going in June. And Dr. Joy is already planning that trip for them to make it a comprehensive program. But we're recruiting the next set of mentees for the Am Abel Foundation, the next set that will be paired with mentors for the next class. And applications are open through March 23rd. So we have just 2 weeks to go. And so we really would encourage you to go into www.iamable.org and look under there, and you'll find applications both for our medical mentoring program and also for the affiliate program. So again, it's important to do that. You have 2 weeks and an opportunity to go on a great trip like this. So as we kind of get to the last part of this, would like to ask a few things about. People say, well, what are the? It's traveling abroad seems really expensive. How can I get to go abroad if I don't have the resources? What are some of the ways we've made that happen through I Am Able and with your other things that you do in the community?
Absolutely. So it is kind of expensive to go. I tell people to plan for like $2,000 and it's just a week generally. And so I Am Able has offered scholarships to past students that have gone to help cover some of the costs, or help cover the cost of the plane ticket. Because I've had other people who are interested in going. Sometimes friends will say, I'll donate something to this person so they can go if there's a student that's interested. And then I always say, ask people instead of asking for a gift. Say, hey, this is something I really want to do. Can you fund me in this? And people are more than willing to kind of donate to causes you're passionate about, I've learned.
Yes, they are. And so that's one of the things we also try and teach the mentees is also kind of advocacy and following through with things you're interested in. So we do offer scholarships because the goal is to bridge that gap and to really provide opportunities for our mentees that they may not otherwise have, but also to teach them how to follow through on things and do little fundraising projects and figure out how to source some of those funds, because it really is important. And we've talked about international travel and the things you do with I Am Able. You're also part of this other organization, Chances for Children, which does phenomenal work. And then some people might be thinking, well, what if I can't go abroad? What if I really can't go abroad, or I don't want to go abroad, or I'm scared of flying, or I just don't, if I don't go abroad, does that mean I'm not doing a good thing? How can I get involved in my community at home? Because the thing is about service both home and abroad.
Right.
So any recommendations?
And so there are so many opportunities to serve here. And so I make a point to serve here as well. I've gone to homeless shelters while I'm here, just volunteering for the day, doing whatever they need, whether that be making lunches, making beds. There's an organization that Feed My Starving Children. You can actually pack up the food packets that they send over to the different countries. And then even if you just kind of go out and pass out what we call blessing bags to people, there's so many opportunities here to serve. I personally have committed to volunteering at a free clinic about once a month as well. But I feel like if we just open our eyes, there are so many opportunities. Homeless shelters, women's shelters. If you wanted to plan to do something that has a little bit more international focus, you can do a food drive, or not a food drive, a clothing drive or a shoe drive. We oftentimes take lots of supplies over there with us when we go. Or you can help support someone else's mission to go. Say, I want to collect vitamins for you to take over there with the kids. And that's something that people have done for me in the past as well.
Yeah, and so that's really important that, sometimes the need seems overwhelming, and students especially, because we're talking about getting people into the organization, think, what can I do? I'm 15, I'm 16, so, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone, right?
Yes.
And so if you look at it that way and think about how to give back, giving back and in lieu of gifts, donating your time, mentoring somebody else, helping with homework, being a big brother, big sister to an elementary school kid. So there are ways, and we say that because we both, we've gone through training. We know that to get into medical school and residency and academic positions, those things are important. As physicians, we're supposed to be well-rounded citizens, not just in the hospital and clinics, but in the communities that we serve. So it really is part of the medical school application process. They look at service and volunteers. Like we sit on the admissions committee, and it is really important, which is why for the tenets of this program, we did have a whole part around service and giving back, because those are all things that we need to do. But we hope that when we have mentors like you who have a huge passion for working with the children, it's infectious. The children realize it's not just something to check off because it's important, but they actually get joy from it, and they catch the bug and they want to keep giving back. And a lot of medical schools are realizing that not everybody has the opportunity to go abroad, and not everybody has to go abroad, because there's a lot of need in there and a lot of push to make sure that volunteer opportunities that are local count, and there's not a disparity in who's getting in because of where they were able to travel to.
So I just want to highlight one of the students that went with me on the last trip last summer. She came back and she said, you know what, I want to make a difference. Like, what can I do? She went to her school, started an organization to fund some kids in Haiti. And they are collecting money so that they can fund one of those feeding programs there in Haiti.
And that was after she
went. This was
after
the trip, yes. And so I just want to salute Kristen for the work that she's doing.
Hey, Kristen. Yes. So we've talked about how you can serve at home, in the community. One of the things I'd like to ask you is, in terms of all the trips and things that you've done, is there a particular incident or trip or a person or an event that really kind of stuck in your mind? I'm sure you have a great number of experiences that just made you say, this is why I'm doing this, and this is why I cannot do this.
So
I know it's a lot,
It's a lot. So there is, and I don't remember when this was, but I think it was a couple of years ago now. We went to Haiti, and it was after the hurricane. And we went up to this community. We took a car on like a 2.5-hour car ride that was very bumpy. And we got there, we did a clinic, and then we went back the next day. And this father brought his son there. And his son was probably the sickest child I've seen. ever, and we were doing a makeshift clinic. We didn't have anything that we could treat him with, but we took him, we got the dad and the little boy and another sister in the car with us. I don't know how they fit, but we got him in there and we took him to a hospital, and we saved his life. That little boy, he was literally dying of malnutrition. And we took him, and then I went back probably a year later, and to see that little boy like happy and running around, and he's like, "No, I don't remember you." Yeah, but it was just and that is why I do it. I do it for all the people there, but specifically for those ones where if we hadn't been there, they would have passed away, and so that's why I go.
That is very impressive. And so when we think about, the I Am Abel Foundation and our goal to bridge those gaps by actually bringing the children in and I keep saying children because mine are 19 and 20 and they're children, but it's a way to expose all of them to opportunities that they may not otherwise have, through medical mentoring, through the shadowing, through the MCAT prep, through the opportunities to travel abroad, teaching them how to be advocates, and exposing them to other cultures. All of those things that are going to make them not just better applicants for medical school, but the goal is to train and raise the next set of physicians who give back to the community. And so this is such a great opportunity. So we're in the last few minutes. If you had, I just wondered if you had any other advice to potential students who are thinking about, volunteering, or even to other physicians who are like, how do I, now I'm inspired. Dr. Joy has her clinic, she's traveling, she's at U of C, she's doing all this stuff, and she's still taking children and planning trips, how to get involved and how they can help out.
So the organization I travel to Haiti with is called Chances for Children. You can go to chancesforchildren.org and look them up. You can look me up on Facebook if you want some more information about it, you're interested in going. First name Joy, Joy, last name Elion. Reach out, get some questions about it. Don't be afraid of it. Like I went my very first trip, I didn't know anybody that was going. I was like, I'm just gonna go.
Wow.
And it was the best. It was the most amazing experience of my life. So glad I did it. Don't be afraid about it. Just be open to it, and it will change your life for sure.
Yes. And to our mentees out there and potential mentees, again, and for parents. So we have this organization called Proud, which are the parents raising our upcoming doctors. They're also a big part of the fundraising initiatives around raising funds so we can support mentees to go to Haiti, and for some of our other programs. It's important to visit the iamabel.org website. You can see about all the programs we offer, the medical mentoring, the Urban Bridges program, and then the volunteer programs, how you can get involved as a parent, how you can apply for the program, and the applications are open till March 23, so 2 weeks to go. And to visit the website and explore some of the amazing options and things that we have. So one last question is, so you were there this last summer with how many kids get to go with you? And of those, have any of them gone back again? Do kids have the opportunity to go back again? Or do we just kind of at least make it open to at least have them go once?
So they have only taken like 2 students at a time. More can absolutely go. And if you want to go back after you've gone the first time, you can absolutely go back. There's no restrictions on this. Right. Like we want to give everybody an opportunity. And if you love it so much, like definitely come back with us.
That's awesome. And again, for those who've been tuning in with us every week for the last couple of weeks, Dr. Conway has talked about her time in Cuba, and that's something that's happened now for the last couple of years. And that's really important to know that for an organization this young, right? We both got involved like 3-4 years, like at the start of the program, all the great things that are happening, but the fact that everywhere the mentors have gone with the mentees, they've always been asked to come back. There's been great report, and a lot of that has to do just with what's going on and how people are receiving us at those sites, but also how much the mentees enjoy their time when they're there. So again, you know, volunteering and giving back and service, you can't get to everyone, but you can help someone in big ways, in little ways, both locally in your community and abroad. And obviously abroad and traveling to exotic places with Dr. Joy is amazing. And if you've had the opportunity to work with her and be around her, you can tell that this passion is infectious. And I'm sure the kids catch the bug when they just want to keep doing this. So again, we appreciate your time. I don't know if we have any call-ins. We're in the last minute of the program, and really enjoy having Dr. Joy with us today. So thank you.
Thank you.